Cable 10, Aurora, Illinois Community Access Channel.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Guys, where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer
Can't deny that
Rim.
view.
Enjoy your stay. It cuts out because she does this.
Yeah, well, it takes a little tweaking, but
Yeah,
that's
I'll
great.
figure it out. I'll figure it out as how to extend that, I guess. I have the recording still on my computer. So hi everybody. Welcome back to Smirking Gun, where today we are joining the multitudes of people talking about The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. That's why I wasn't in the biggest hurry to get this out. And by the time you see this, we'll have already been on Darrin's channel tonight, doing the Daredevil Born Again finale live stream. So this will be out tomorrow or Thursday. It depends on what I want to do with all of it. Do I want to add anything? Probably not, but I really wanted to try something different, and we are doing something different, which is it's a live stream, but not really, because I've figured out how to send everybody an invite that on the Discord that I have, and they can come in and they can chat privately and watch us record this and still give their thoughts, and without having the extra pressure of doing a live stream, making sure it stays up. Even before I started doing this, it was telling me I just had this open and the Discord, and it was telling me high CPU usage.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, but here we go, talking about the show that brought me back a couple of years ago when I was just trying to get my feet under me after leaving a terrible place. I knew that when this show came out, I was like, I have to, and we're back because I have to. I mean, I'm sitting here. We're talking about the second game, essentially, The Last of Us Part 2, which is a very controversial game. I see why. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, I guess, because I mean, we play video games for a lot of reasons. I used to play just because, oh my gosh, video games. You're a kid, jingling keys, punching, violence. It's all there. And for the most part of for a big chunk of my life, I just played games just to get, my rocks off in some fashion, depending on what it was. And all these years later, The Last of Us comes out. This great narrative story, which is what I've become known for. I just really love story and character, and I beat that drum all the time, probably too much. And it had all these just difficult moments, but you felt justified in it, right? Everywhere you go in that game, you're defending your life against people who would take it from you, and your character is doing something noble. A character who we know has had a huge amount of tragedy in his life. And then we also find out that he's done a lot of terrible things that are never told to us what they are. We can only imagine that he's done in the 20 years since his daughter dies just to survive, even though he was a guy that was pretty much prepared to die for 20 years. He's been just kind of waiting for death. But he's also been willing to do whatever it took to somehow still go on. It's that thing about our lives, right? Is terrible things can happen to us, and yet we still persevere. We still go on. And he does. I mean, full spoilers for the Last of Us Season 1, Last of Us, the first game. He gets her there, and she doesn't know that it's the end of the road for her, but she feels like it's the end of the road for her.
Right.
And he goes in there, he delivers her to the Fireflies, and then they tell him, well, she's the cure, but she's going to die to do it. And while, Ellie, I think, was prepared to die, the Fireflies, in their infinite wisdom, decided to not let Joel and Ellie have a moment. It's too late, man. Like, she's here.
Out. It'll be peaceful this way. I think
Yeah.
it's say in the last season's finale.
Yeah, like, they didn't even let them have a moment to say goodbye and to, everything that they went through. And he decides for her and for himself that he can't let this happen. And he massacres an entire hospital full of people. People, by the way. We play games and we just start tearing things up and we don't think about consequences because we're playing a game. There are no consequences except for maybe carpal tunnel, maybe your conscience, maybe your own personal conscience.
Sleep.
But like you feel justified even as this character, because how many fathers and mothers out there would do anything for their kid? It's a hard choice. Do you respect what you know or probably know what your kid wanted?
Well, I think that's what they've done brilliantly and that they've moved over to the show so well is everything is gray. There is really no black and white. Can you do this? Can you not? Would she be willing to die? Yes, but also the Fireflies never ask her. We're not going to let it be peaceful. They don't get that moment. So there's a lot of assumptions of what people think that they want to do. And is this the right thing? What is the value of a human life? Is it better to sacrifice her to maybe save everybody? Versus, is killing wrong when, no matter the circumstance. The fact that they really play with those and don't avoid those issues, I think apparently was the strength of the game and certainly what they've been able to bring to the show.
Yeah. And by the end of the first game, Joel and the first season, Joel lies to her, right to her face. And in both cases, I think Ellie knows deep down that he's full of shit. But he just, how do you say that in the moment? It's kind of like she gives it to him. And in fact, maybe she's just grateful to still be alive. There's a lot of unsaid stuff there.
Yeah.
We never actually we've never heard her real thoughts on being alive still. She has said things about the choice, but never like, well, it sucks that I'm still alive. Clearly it doesn't suck to still be alive. It sucks to know that you could have saved everyone. And I mean, for my own part, right? I've said to people, like, if I knew right now that I could solve all of our problems right now just by sacrificing myself, I'd do it. But, and I think a lot of people would. But here we are. He's lied to her. And the second game comes out, and people have this assumption that it's just going to be more of the same somehow. Which Naughty Dog, first off, they don't do that. They started with Crash Bandicoot. They did what they progressed as a studio with that property. And then they switched and made a huge jump from side-scrolling, difficult platformer to a more like 3D open world, continually getting grander and grander series in the Jack and Daxter game. So it starts out as this happy, kind of dark story with a sort of open world, and then 2 and 3 expand on those ideas, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the story gets grander, and the way that narratively they're telling the story keeps changing, and then they stop. and then they move to The Last of Us. And then that blows everybody away. Narratively, it is one of the best story games ever. It's one of my favorite things of all time. I find, this weekend, I even got to meet Ashley Johnson, and it was one of the best moments ever. She is just as sweet and kind, and you wouldn't know that she ever played Ellie because of how different they really are in real life. I mean, I don't know though. I think she probably has a little Ellie inside her. I think we all have a little bit of that kind of that Ellie has. And that was, that was so amazing. She's such a nice person. But the second game though flips everybody on its head. And there were rumors that something was going to happen, and then it kind of, like everything these days, just gets leaked. Everybody finds out. And so then you have all these people just automatically, fuck this. Because I think a lot of it's just that knee-jerk reaction to finding out that you're not going to get the exact same kind of experience and you want that. And it's valid. Sure. It is kind of valid. But then when it comes out and it's like, this girl named Abby is in the game, and she's the daughter of the doctor he killed. And it's also a thing that I was talking about is like, we forget how many people in that first game you take out a lot of people to get to her. And all those people had families and kids, possibly. Not everybody was just some grunt, young guy who didn't have or woman, with no family. Everybody's connected. It's all these choices and actions having consequences. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people couldn't handle, was the game was making actions have real consequences. And there's plenty of games that have sequels that show the consequences of your actions. There's a lot of games that actually do that. But I think a lot of it comes down to Abby herself being the reason why a lot of people are mad. Mm-hmm. Even though her father was murdered by a guy who he thinks is making the right choice. And I wonder, and it's not even a wonder, a big chunk of this audience rejected that, I think, flat out because she was a woman.
Oh, sure.
And then you see her, and Abby's a tank. And that's another thing that sets these people off.
Man, girl would be like that.
Yeah.
Girl would be.
Why is she ugly? Why is she ugly? And I'm like, first off, look, Abby is just a person. She's just an average looking person. And have you seen some people that work out that much? It's not, I honestly don't find it very attractive. I don't find huge, giant muscles attractive. It looks weird to me. I think it just, when you see a normal head on a body that looks like somebody, like a Frankenstein body almost. It's like,
okay.
Anyway.
Well, but you have a challenge. I mean, you were talking about you're doing a sequel we're just going to get the same thing. But you get people that always complain it's just the same game, in a new location, So, I mean, as a game maker, you have a challenge to try and build on the experience. And I think you hit the nail on the head, because it's something I'm sure the game does, and certainly that plays in very well here, is that idea of consequences, that something leads to that. So no, let's flip it up and give you as a game experience. How are we going to change the story? How about we let you play the villain or the antagonist or this character that's after one of your characters, Make that up, because again, it's a way that we can see that perspective. And that's a great thing that games have and shows have and all of that. See it through Abby's eyes. Understand why she feels the way that she feels. And then when you get to your eventual conflict, I mean, again, I don't know any of these things. I haven't played the game. I'm coming to all this all freshy. But you know that there's a point coming up, and when that happens, it's going to have more drama because you're going to understand both sides. And that's a story worth telling.
Yeah. And it is jarring. And I said it. I mean, I don't know if if the streams are up, if the original recordings are still on my channel for the original playthrough of The Last of Us, or if I played that only on Twitch. But I had a real hard time. I had a real hard time playing. Like, I know I was like, why am I okay? I'm this person, and how long am I gonna be this person? And it turns out you're gonna be this person for a good long while. And I struggled. I struggled hard, but not because she's a girl or she has muscles. It was because, yeah, she took out the person that I liked. But by the end of it, I understood that this isn't supposed, like, it's about what we do to each other.
Right.
For all the reasons. For anytime someone dies that's close to us, that, you know, even if it's whether it's from cancer or a bullet, we always want to find somebody to blame. You know, like how many times have people said, like, if I just had 5 minutes in that room with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you think about how we react to things and how quick we are to violence and revenge, and we don't think about why this happened. We just which is going to be funny because here we are talking about like consequences of violence, the cycle of violence that just continues on in our world. And then we're going to go over to your channel and talk about Daredevil and the Punishers and it just taking out motherfuckers left and right.
Right.
And I feel completely different about it.
Well, we're telling different stories, you know.
And there's a whole different like what the violence is going on in Daredevil deals with the kind of people that we all kind of as a group have decided you can do whatever you want to people who behave like this, you know, like that. And we'll get into more of that on your channel.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just they really make it so that when you get to Abby and you see these are people that had things taken from them too. These are people that lost all this stuff, but people still couldn't see it because there's still the group that took out this imaginary fictional character. And right at the jump, at the start of season 2, where they just come right in, repeat the end of last season.
Yeah.
And then we cut immediately to what's going on at the same time with Abby. And that's how we're introduced to her. And we get to see that these are kids. These are just young adults, kids that have suffered massive losses. They have no one. They don't know what to do with their lives. They're lost because he came in and took all of that from them. And so that's where we're going to start the actual conversation here about it. And I want to know, like, on your end, what did you think of this premiere episode? And I'll shut up for now and let you talk.
Well, no, I mean, I think they did exactly what you want to do is they do the setup for the story that they're going to tell in season 2. They do a nice bridge and carrying you over and opening up with that scene of having Abby and all of them by the graves and saying, you know, we should go after this guy. What are you doing? You know, that questions of revenge and timing and what. And again, we know we're just getting a little back. So we're doing a quick little setup to, like you said, show the immediate consequences of what happened last season. And then move on to, you know, our 5-year time jump where we catch up with Ellie and Joel. And I think, again, we are really looking at consequences. Because they set up the last episode, you know, we did a little rewatch, of course, of the season finale of last season finale before watching the new one, because you want to kind of get in the mood and get in the feel. And Ellie is so much distracted through all that episode for that exact reason. Is for her, this is kind of the end of the line. And she makes this promise to Joel, oh, I'll go with you afterwards. But in her, that's kind of a wishy tomorrow. That's probably never going to happen. You see that in all of her actions. So yes, she is prepared to die. And at the same time, Joel is so much trying to just connect and be like, almost feeling that he has found a replacement for Sarah. And I think that instigates what his whole reaction is and why she's with. And yeah, the whole feeling, she's like, you're not telling me the truth. But I want to believe it. Deborah in the chat was mentioning that. I want to believe it. And when we do our little 5-year jump, we see the consequences of that lie. Because as opposed to them really getting closer, it's fetid their relationship. It seems, I mean, yes, she's older, a 19 and a kid and so on. And we get that great scene later on. We're like, yeah, kid's acting like any kid does to a parent. But everybody knows that there's more of it. And I think it is this known lie that just isn't expressed. And he can't really admit it. So he's standoffish, and she wants to trust but can't, and that's all go on, and it's made her reckless, even though highly skilled. And I love how they set that up. She kicks ass. Everybody respects her. She just makes a lot of stupid, reckless decisions. And we, of course, see the consequences of that, which we're going to get a great setup. So I think they've done an excellent job of connecting to the last, showing how that's actually affected them going forward. And then by the end of the episode, you see the perfect setup of like, and these are the threats that are about to come. And while I'll say it, Ellie was a little annoying with some of her recklessness, like, okay, this is just like too much. I was pleased that her choices her recklessness wasn't our instigating action. That was the fall, and it's this new thing, this new threat that we have coming in. Plus, we have Abby and her group. Plus, we have the problem with expanding too fast. You may run into some tendrils of mushrooms that's going to signal a crowd. So it's a perfect jump. Like, this is where we are, and this is where she is, and yeah, she's doing stupid things, but that's not going to be the cause of the next pulling forward. And that was the one thing that I did appreciate, because I always hate it when it's just like, oh, you do a stupid thing and that causes everything to happen. It's like, no, I mean, you do stupid things, but that's not really the cause. It's going to happen anyway. So yeah, I think they did a great setup and just shown again, just like why this show is so damn good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to compare it to like the other show that we discussed.
No.
Like it's good. I'm like thinking to myself, is it Severance good? No,
it's different good.
But it's a different kind of good. This is an adaptation of something, and it's about how well do they adapt that? How well can they convey the meanings, the meaning of the games? How did they do all that? And I mean, of course, we have all the acting that's just across the board good. We've got new people joining. Catherine O'Hara, man, she is just hitting it in every single thing she's been in for a really long time. But like lately, she's everywhere and consistently great. And I mean, she was the best part of the Beetlejuice sequel to me. But like like Dora the Explorer's in this. Dina. All right, and she was amazing. So many parts of this. Let's see, who else do we have here? I mean, yeah, Bella Ramsey, Pedro Pascal, Caitlin Dever, who was in that Netflix show series, that little one season thing called Unbelievable with Hereditary, and why can't I remember her name now? Tara, United States of Tara, the Australian actress.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to get it now.
Dang it. I can't get there for some darn reason. Nick Offerman in the first season, Anna Torv, Nico Parker, Melanie Linsky, Murray Bartlett, Gabriel Luna. Good to see Ghost Rider back.
Love seeing Gabriel around for sure.
Yeah. Wait, where is she? The one who was Tara on True Blood. Why can't I get to her? So acting wise, again, across the board, really good. Writing, really, really good. And the fleshing out of this story. So this is where I get to I get to see all the things, like the scene where Tommy and her are sniping clickers from a distance is in the game, but much further down, and they've moved it forward to like, I love when they can do things like that and it still gets the point across of what they're doing. The party is actually a flashback in the game, but instead they move it to the present. And it also allows us, because look, if you don't already know what's going to happen eventually, because it's going to happen, someone's not living through all of this.
Oh yeah.
But
We guessed that this was coming up anyway from their show, so
yeah,
will not be a totally unexpected surprise. I'm just curious how they're going to pull it off.
Well, they've said that this they've taken the second game and turned it into 2 seasons.
Sure.
And you have Pedro Pascal. And if you're gonna suddenly disappear him from the show minus flashbacks, but it's also a way for people that in the game didn't feel satisfied enough with Troy Baker's Joel Miller being absent from the majority of the game. We can really realize Jackson. We can show what's important about Jackson. We can, we get to get more clickers. We get to show more danger. We get to have Abby and her group. Who knows what role they're going to play in this? Because I don't think what's going to happen is going to happen until maybe episode 3 or 4. And that's still just a guess. But I really don't think that that big moment that I think a lot of people are kind of dreading and just kind of anxiously not looking forward to, knowing it's happening, I don't think it's going to happen until at least a few episodes deep. At least.
Sure.
That just from some of the stuff that they've shown in the trailer, that leads me to go, oh, this is not happening right now. We're going to still tell a more full story because the game gets right to it in a lot of ways. Yeah, you're doing some exploring, you're looking around, you're building some relationships, getting to know Dina, which is very important. But yeah, anybody I totally expect it's going to happen, but let the story happen. Don't be so worried about when it's going to happen, because it's just going to happen.
Well, and you figure it's, the great thing about having the show being made by the people who made the game is, one, you get such an incredibly faithful adaptation, but you also get what did we play with that we'd like to play with more? What did we rush too much? What would we like to kind of add? How could we take this feedback? So in a way, it's like this is a chance to do a refined version of the game. It's like a super remaster in its own sense. Is they can feel like, where can we dwell and play and change, even though if people are expecting things, how can we get them there in an interesting way? So I'm excited with however they're going to see this. And once they get through it, obviously, I'm going to be excited to go, okay, so how did they get here before? What did they change? But yeah, I mean, they've certainly done well enough to give faith that they're going to get us to these moments in a very satisfying way.
And if you really want to know what happens in the game, we are currently playing it. I'm trying to get the 75th platinum that I got the platinum for The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4 when it first came out. I was like, when I got the platinum, I was 0.2% of players had gotten the trophy for the platinum trophy for that game. Now we're doing the remaster, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't have that. So that's going to be my 75th platinum. And if you want to check out how we get to where we are in the game, go to Smirking Gun and look up my live videos for The Last of Us 2 Remastered. Now, again, what this show though gets to do instead of the game is, again, fleshing things out. We get to see that because Dina doesn't really have a relationship with Joel, but in this, we get to see their interactions. We get to see more of like what Joel was feeling, and we get the whole him in therapy, which is not at all in the game at all. There is no mention. Gale is a unique character. In fact, one of the cool things about Gale is that she's the wife of Eugene, who we hear about in this, a guy who apparently can grow really great pot.
Right.
In the game, we find out through Dina and Ellie that he was this guy who was kind of out on it in this like outpost. They find his weed. They find where he'd been growing it. We know he died. We know everybody liked him, and we also know he had a lot of porn. But everybody really liked him because who doesn't like the guy who's going to give you a joint?
Sure.
But in this, we find out they get to show more, which is that he had a wife. Now, I'm kind of feeling like game canon is game canon. Game came first. That's what's there. That's the story. This is an extension of that for me. So Gale being here is just a nice extra bonus that I can either choose to ignore or not as far as like headcanon goes.
Sure.
Because they don't mention her, I don't believe, in the game at all. But when you have Catherine O'Hara here, and it's not just about one of the things that's so important about this scene is it also shows more of the history of what Joel was always capable of, even to people he cares about. When they sit there and you think it's just going to be a regular ass therapy session, why is she drinking? What is like, maybe you think she's just trying to get him to open up, but really it's because she can't sit in this room listening to this man lie to her, especially after you find out that he killed her husband.
Oh, and I'm like, man, okay, we got to get that flashback because, and that kind of is an encouraging thing. Is like, we got to have flashbacks, right? We got to have things. You got to maximize your Pedro Pascal, and you can't drop this because my first thought is, oh, this was back in no, wait a minute. She said, it's my first birthday, so it was about a year ago, and we did a 5-year jump. So this is, an in-between story. How did that happen? Viewer intrigued. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah, and it happened in front of her. We don't know. And like you said, they could show us. I don't really need it. Sure. It's kind of like how a lot of scenes happen in this, like in the first season, right? When they go to take Ellie to the Fireflies and they're all dead. And that's when Tess goes, I got bit and I'm going to die and blah, blah, blah. They could show us what happened, but I don't need to. I don't need all that. I also, like, as much as I probably would in theory, I would enjoy a Joel prequel game, but really it would just be Joel and Tommy and Tess murdering a lot of people. It doesn't sound like a lot of what they did is in the same vein as what they did in the first game, which is defend their lives to cross the country to get a girl from point A to point B.
Right.
A prequel game is just going to be bad. It's like the darkest parts of like The Walking Dead, like.
Well, yeah. And also, I mean, you know where most of the characters are going to end up or what their fate is. So you don't have that same thing. And so they have to introduce new people that you know are going to die because they're replacing the people that you can't, or, you know, in what sense. So yeah, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of prequels. I think it's hard to do something that actually really contributes to the story more than just telling the story now, maybe with a flashback or something that can give you the things. Because yeah, you I don't know, you need that tension.
Yeah. So when she tells him, like, you're lying to me, I'm not gonna do all these things. Yeah, I had something more to drink than everything, and I hate you. Like, all the things she's probably gonna, if she doesn't get nominated just for like guest appearance in a show, I don't know. Because that
Catherine
scene right there,
O'Hara,
like,
yeah.
what? Well,
Ah,
Dame Judi Dench won an Oscar for what, 30 seconds of being in Shakespeare in Love? So I think Catherine O'Hara deserves an award just for that scene alone, where she tells him, and gets it all out there and says, now that I
yes.
have said the thing that I was scared to say, knowing that this was her plan all along, was to do the hard thing, to get him to do the hard thing so that everybody can get better afterwards. And without saying anything, like just nodding, couple of whispers of like, no, I didn't hurt her. Yes, I did something to her, but I didn't hurt her. I saved her. And that tear that comes down his face. But there's also that look that he gives her as he stands up that scares her, because that's the Joel you have
Yeah.
to be afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to do. He could very well have just, because his fight or flight, his fear of the consequence. I mean, when he's talking to Dina, right? And this was really interesting, because he goes, what did I do? What did I do? You know, in his head, he's still like trying to convince himself, I made the right choice. Something you don't know yet, I guess. And I kind of hesitate on whether I should spoil it or not, because I don't want to ruin the story, but
Yeah. Well, it's
Ellie and Joel, at this point, why is she mad at him?
right.
There'd only be one real reason. If you can get there on your own without me telling you, it's the obvious thing. Okay, it's the most obvious reason she's mad at him. But when he tells Dina, I don't know what did I do? It almost made me mad, because it's like Joel isn't that unself-aware. But
Well,
he's convinced himself that I did, like, the right thing.
that's it.
I made the right choice. I saved her, and that's what's damning me. Damning this relationship. And he just gets up and leaves. And it was just great, great work.
Oh no. I mean, it's brilliant, because you're right. I mean, Catherine O'Hara, yeah, is brilliant in freaking everything that she has done and has for ages and ages. And she gets that such beautiful back and forth with that expressing of total anger and truth and stuff. And you're right. And then switches it as like, now your turn. And I will. And you believe her. She's telling the truth. You're right. She made this sacrifice play to reveal this thing, to get this guy to finally open up, because it's destroying the relationship. And he knows he's lying. And that's the thing you can see when he stands up and he gets that look and that tear and that tear. And he's like, I saved her. That's the lie you're telling yourself. And yes, you did, but you know, you didn't make the right choice. And again, it's not like you should have sacrificed her. It's not any of that. You have made a choice for her. You've denied her that. And that has corrupted your relationship ever since, which is just the tragedy of it, because he saved her, because it's like, you're my kid. I have to, I can't sacrifice. Again, it's that total level 1 parent thing reaction. It's a much higher parent thing to know that it's not about you and your feelings. It's about them, and are you mature enough to deal with their choices? And yeah, it's just so good. They give so much in that scene while not saying anything. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's freaking brilliant.
Yeah. Now, switching over to Ellie and you were talking about the recklessness and stuff of like her wanting to go out on run after run after run, just anything to keep herself from dealing with Joel, dealing with her feelings of guilt for being alive.
Right.
Her whole life, she's got to deal with, I can live through these things as long as I don't get torn apart. I won't get infected. I will have to watch other people die.
Well, and I think it's also a quest for meaning. All these people have sacrificed for me. So I had a meaning. I had a purpose to do this thing. And now I haven't. So why am I here? What am I doing? Which at 19, you're already dealing with from a massive standpoint. Throw on the fact that maybe you were the cure for civilization or not,
Or not, yeah. So we get the whole going out on the run. We get to know more about Jesse. We get to the fight scene at the beginning.
God, yeah.
I mean, when she realizes they're throwing their punches with her, and he's like, he's afraid of Joel. They're afraid of Joel and Tommy, both of them. Tommy's afraid of Joel.
And that guy would have leveled Ellie with that one hit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's tough,
but she's not. But she's trying. She wants to earn everything. She doesn't want to be treated because Joel. Don't treat me different because my dad says we'll be mad at you.
Yeah.
And also you get to have the parts in here about like relationships and being in a world like The Last of Us where there aren't a lot of other people, like when she's talking to Dina like about who would she take to the dance, and it's like, well, there's her, she's the other one. Does that mean can you imagine how difficult it is, like going through all those hormonal things and wanting to be in love, and then there's only one other person that is like up for grabs, and you tried and it failed, and now you're just alone as a teenager when all you want is to sow your wild oats and blah blah blah, and you see the girl that you have a crush on who's like, that girl, my goodness, is so charming.
Oh, Dina, yeah, how can you not fall in love with her?
Mercedes, I can't remember her first. Wait, it's right here. Isabella Merced, if I'm saying that right. What a charmer. And she is just as charming, if not a little more so than the game version. She's firing on all cylinders because she's like the most beautiful girl there. Every guy likes her, everybody likes her, and she's also capable. She's also she's not a fake person, even if she's going to talk to Joel and sits down with him and is treating him with respect, and he's feeling that respect, and he's kind of confused, like, you like me, why doesn't she? And even though she is gaming him a little, there's some real, like, she does want to know things. She does want to learn things because she wants to live. She
Yeah.
she does not want to die. the more she knows. They just convey that. Like when they were about to go in, when they, they're being, Ellie's being reckless. I think Dina is there to make sure Ellie doesn't get too reckless.
Sure.
And so she's sitting there, she's planning, like, don't just run in there. Let's listen. Let's think before we go in there. Let's have a plan. Even if the plan could go sideways, and it usually does, and it does go sideways, it wasn't because there wasn't a little preparation. And yeah, wow, that scene with the clicker showing again, and I love anytime they use game stuff in this, like especially like Ellie putting on all the weapons so that they tell her she looks like, the action hero. And it's like, that's how you are in the game, man. You're rolling deep with like, I don't know how many guns you have by the end of it, but I had like let's see, I had a bow and arrow, an Uzi, a pistol, a Magnum, a sniper rifle, a shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Trip mines, smoke bombs.
In the game, you want everything.
Yeah. So she's got all that. But like when she throws the bottle to get the to attract them, which is what you can do in the game. You're like, there's so many uses, and then just the jumping up and the brutal stabbing. And that's another part of Ellie, is her propensity for violence, just like Joel. It was there we saw it in her in the first moment that Joel is beating that guy to death in the first episode. And she is standing there looking at this man doing this thing, like, not just like, this is a guy who can protect me, but I want to hurt people. And this is somebody
that's how you get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's up there stabbing, and she's very silly. And I happen to like, I know like you were talking about the recklessness and how she, I think Deborah had talked about this yesterday when we were talking about the show together, and how it was like really reckless of her to start shouting that I'm immune. And but it's so in character. It is so in character for Ellie to rebel against any kind of authority. And I relate to that a lot. I really do. It made me realize, I was like, that's probably how I'd do it too.
Yeah.
Is that like any kind of push a lot of times by somebody who's telling me, not asking me, telling me what to do, I'm more not likely going to do the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least I can admit it. I know it's not always the best thing, the best answer to a problem, but I can relate to Ellie being that kind of like frustrated, especially because, how do you keep that lie up? But then we get to see another really cool thing that we don't see in the game for a while. And that's the stalkers, the new kind of clicker that is now evolved. Now, this has been going for 2013, so 16 years. I don't know if look, some things you just kind of have to, I guess I have to just go, it's a show. Evolution probably doesn't work like that fast to all of a sudden go from whatever, but I love the idea of clickers that are smarter. I don't even know how it works. Does it mean that they don't take over as much as you so that you can, I don't know, but like, they don't run at you. They lure you in. And it's one of the scariest parts of the game, of the second game, is anytime you got to run into those things. I played the game enough now where I know how to manipulate what they do to my advantage. But seeing as how most people aren't going to know this is a really, really creepy thing. It still kind of looks like a person. I love all the strands of fungus that are
but they've
coming
done
out
with
of
that. Those things. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. That was the creepiest part when Anna Torv died, is that kiss that comes out and they reach out and they grab it. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, it is so creepy. And once again, she gets bit. And this is like, I don't know how many times she's been bit now, but we also see that every time this happens to her, she has to create new believable scars that don't look like, so she's got to put herself through more pain to keep hiding her secret. And I'm starting to wonder if this show might blow her. Like I think we're gonna get more of a. If we never get a third game, I think this show might resolve her story in a way where more people like the all of Jackson probably will find out. But I don't know. Maybe it will still be a little ambiguous.
Well, and I gotta say, because you were mentioning the game aspect when they did the stuff up on top and they were distracting the clicker there. This is definitely one of those, and it's again one thing I love about having the same crew making the show as who made the game is these feel like game sequences. Like I watch this and I'm just like, oh yeah, the fall through the roof where you're isolated and now you've got to like search through it. I'm like, I can see the third person playthrough of doing this. Again, I haven't played the game because I don't have a PlayStation. But I can see the game aspect of it being done. And I'm just like, see, this is brilliant. This is a great way to translate what is going to be a large thing. It's like, the massacre at the hospital. Oh yeah, I'm sure in the game that was a big long sequence of going floor to floor and killing and searching and finding and so on, and they do it quick for the show, but you could see how that's a raid into a building, and this you could see how this is a survival horror in an old warehouse. It's just they really set these up in a beautiful way to honor the source material.
So next up, as we kind of wind this up or wind down, I liked seeing then the aftermath of, again, seeing more of Jackson and how it operates and how it works. As we have a council that they come to say, we found this new thing. But the most interesting part was like when they said like, well, why is it different for me? Why would it be any different if it was you or Joel? So that even Maria's like, yeah, what does make it different, Tommy? Like, why do you guys just get to do this? And we also see Joel with Tommy's kid, and we see even more of Joel's like way of thinking in front of Maria, which is they need to expand. More and more people are finding this place, making it more dangerous for everyone. Yet, how do you turn away people and keep building? And again, what does more building cause? It's like you said, that more danger can get in. Because that's why all, like in these stories, right? In any kind of post-apocalyptic story, whether it's Fallout or whatever, and you hear these little stories, right? Or you run into these little scenes or moments, you find people and you read a piece of paper that's like somebody's backstory of like, we tried, we came from this place and it seems like everywhere we go, nothing is sustainable. Everything falls apart. And they're already building towards what could be the collapse of Jackson. Probably not. Let's see. He froze. Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It seems to be now, but I can hear you. Can you hear me? Am I coming through to you?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You froze for a bit, and we lost picture there from at least on my end. I don't know. I don't know what you were seeing or what ends up being recorded.
I saw you, but you were a little like blurry. That was all. But I think we're back.
Okay.
If Deborah says that she can hear us both, so we're almost done.
Okay. Good.
We're getting to it. So, but Joel's saying, no, we need to like take care of ourselves. If I could, I'd let everybody in, right?
Yeah.
But it's back to that kind of old thing of like Joel saying, no. And he has to be reminded, you were a refugee once too, man. Like, and it's still like all those things that Joel still has to confront. And it's good that he's in therapy, even though the one thing I was thinking was that this is how good writing is, because otherwise, why even have this when we know where we're going? It feels
Sure.
like a character arc on Lost where it's like, as soon as you find some redemption, that big old smoke monster's coming to get you. But
Tale as old as time.
for the last part, we get to the party. And yes, Jesse and her and Dina had been a thing. That's in the game. She's there looking at the woman she's in love with. Why would they're best friends, but why would I ever think that this goddess in her mind would ever be into her? When Jesse is here, they always break up and make up, and we get to see even more of like Dina's brain, that she had all of this planned, that she was setting this up all day.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing about how much she smells is in the game. This is a really good part of the game too, where they get the dance and she gets to feel pretty and she realizes that the impossible is happening. The woman that she likes her back. And it's done so well.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gorgeous, and then it's completely ruined by a great character actor who's been in a million things, as he just can't. He's drunk. He can't sit there standing there like watching two girls kiss. It's not even gratuitous. They're just it's the end of the world as we know it.
It's New Year's.
It's New Year's, yeah, and this guy has to say something, which leads to Joel decking him. And honestly, I'd have decked him too. But because of the history here, and it's just another way of Joel stepping in,
Yes.
not letting her make the choice to how to handle it. He decided again.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the very end, when he's standing there on his porch playing his guitar and she's just standing there looking at him. And again, I already know why she's doing this. I already know like why she's reacting this way. And she just leaves, just after that 1,000-yard stare, and goes in. And that's when we see the fungus coming through, the rot. And there's almost like a metaphor to the whole thing of just like,
Oh yeah.
the rot coming in. It's almost like the secret that no one knows, that because they kind of, when I rewatched it, when I saw the pipes and they were breaking the pipes and they find all these roots in there that are all dead, but then new, it just keeps coming, always coming for you. And it's it's like the secrets are all going to get blown up, the place is going to get, and that's why I don't think that Joel is going to for a little while, because I think things have to, some bad things are going to happen in the town before all of that. Will Abby and her group have anything to do with it, or will they have to help? Will they be inclined to help? Will they
just take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could that, like, because in the game it was something similar, except Abby goes off on her own. And that's when she runs into trouble and runs into Joel and Tommy, who save her. She was donezo.
Sure.
And now, again, more difficult choices that are just coming for all these characters. The tensions is building. Oh, and then Radiohead. Wait, no, that's Daredevil. What am I talking about? That's Daredevil.
Hold on, man. We'll
I'm
get
bleeding
to
it.
that.
I'm bleeding stuff into it. There was a Nirvana song in there that just made me go, wait a minute. Why Nirvana and not Pearl Jam, but whatever. So that's pretty much, yeah, we've nailed it. I think we've talked about a lot of different stuff from the game, from the show, and we've got at least 8 or 9 episodes to figure out how this is all going to play out. So far, so good. I love the extra fleshing out of everything. I love all the acting and the writing, and I can't wait to see and talk about this more as it goes on. And we will be probably doing these a little bit faster in the future, depending on both Darrin and I's schedule. It appears something has happened to Darrin on here. Whether or not he makes it back before I end this recording is going to be up in the air. But what a horrible I just lost. Now it's not The Last of Us, it's The Last of Me. I'm just the only one here. Darrin's been taken by clickers. So keep an eye out. I want to have these done on Sunday nights, but I just don't think it's probably that feasible since the show starts at 8. Oh, here we go.
So I
There
think
you go.
it's all on my end here.
That's okay. We were basically done. But yeah, I was just telling them that these won't be coming out on Wednesdays, because Wednesday night we'll be talking about Andor on your channel. So I don't know when episode 2 or the rest of these are going to be coming out. I want to do them Sunday nights, but after, but it's probably more realistically going to be like Monday nights. But again, our schedules are all over the place, so we'll just have to try and see. But we've got about 20 minutes before we're supposed to go live on Darrin's channel, so this gives us a little bit of a break to do whatever we need to do before we rest our voices, drink some more water. So when you see this, his video will already be out, but we've got to go and get to that. So Darrin, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
No. I'm very excited about where the show's going to go. I think they give us a great setup. They give us a lot of great conflicts, both from Ellie and her relationship bit to, is she going to be exposed because of the bite and who that's going to play? Plus, of course, whenever you have relationships in, you're like, does that mean the person's going to die? I think they've done a great job of really setting up the tension for it. So yeah, I'm really excited for the rest of the season to come over. And yeah, once you've seen this, if you haven't yet, you can jump over to D's Reviews and watch our review of the finale of Daredevil, which we'll be recording or doing live very shortly. And then Andor starting next week. We can fight the Empire every week. And that's going to be fun because we got 3 episodes a week to do. So that should be fun. It'll give us a lot to talk about.
All right. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Do all those things. Then go over to Darrin's channel, except I'm back to pointing the wrong way.
I know. It takes some time.
Go subscribe to Darrin's channel. Do all those things. Smash the like button. And we will see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Fuck you, Mr. Milchick!
Ba-ba-ba-bum. Ba-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bum-bum-bum-bum. Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bum-bum-bum-bum. Ba-bum-bum-bum-bum.